Welcome to my channel, A Better Black America TV and A Better Black America Talk radio show. We talk in entertainment, sports, politics, and money. That's ESPM. So let's get right into it. Now, in entertainment news, the Tupac Shakur murder trial has begun. There's jury selection right now for the Tupac murder trial. And the defendant is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, one of the only individuals alive that knows what's happening. And and I'm going to say it, Suge Knight. Yeah, Suge Knight. Just bombed it. Suge Knight will be testifying because Suge Knight and Dwayne Keefe D. Davis are the only two individuals that knows what's happening. Now, Keefe D. wrote books and all of this, and he thought he had immunity, but statutes of limitation when it comes to murder, there's no statutes of limitation. So, all these books and all of this influence and going on Vlad TV and all those different outlets has come to bite him on the rear end. Now, Suge Knight can throw him under the bus because Suge Knight knows exactly what happened. Suge Knight said he looked at the killer directly into his eyes. So in entertainment news, the number one trending topic in entertainment is the Tupac Shakur murder trial begins. Jury selection is underway in Las Vegas. In the case against Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, the man charged in connection with Tupac's murder in 1996, nearly 30 years after the death, the trial is finally moving forward. So entertainment, sports. Now, the NBA has finally come out with its schedule. This is the latest that the NBA schedule has come out due to the fact that the most influential basketball player of all time, LeBron James, switched teams, and the commissioner had to wait for LeBron James to basically pick the team that he's going to go to so that they could come out with the schedule. And I knew it without a shadow of doubt. I knew this without a shadow of doubt because, like I said, LeBron James is must-see TV. And to confirm what I knew, and I'm just going to share it with you because the opening night triple hitter, the NBA's opening night triple hitter on October the 20th, you got the Boston Celtics versus the Detroit Pistons, the San Antonio Spurs versus the Oklahoma Thunder, and the primetime number one game for opening night. You ready for this? The Philadelphia 76ers versus defending world champions, the New York Knicks. And then to basically confirm the fact that LeBron James is the most influential individual in basketball history because the Christmas Day slate, I knew it without a shadow of a doubt. So here's the Christmas Day schedule. Okay, the Denver Nuggets will be playing the Golden State Warriors in the nightcap. To open it up, the San Antonio Spurs will be playing the New York Knicks. And then the Miami Heat will be playing the Boston Celtics. And then the primetime game, yes, the most influential basketball player in American history is on the East Coast now. But the primetime game for Christmas is the Philadelphia 76ers at the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, tell me that this guy does not move the needle when it comes to, basketball royalty. This is the most influential basketball player in American history, in world history, and he should be the logo. Okay, he's not the GOAT. No, he's not Kobe. No, he's not Jordan. But he is the most influential basketball player that we have ever seen in any lifetime. The man is in his early 40s and still moving the clock. And opening day, prime time, and then on Christmas, prime time. So entertainment, sports, and politics. Now, and I got to say it. We got to jump into the politics. Now, I got to say this, and I mean it, okay? Trump loves black people, okay? Now, Dr. Fauci, is in hot water. He testified before a congressional hearing. He did the congressional hearing, and he pled the fifth 111 times, okay? And he was actually granted immunity, during the situation because they know that there's some hanky-panky. And as a nonpartisan independent organization, we have to report what the left is not reporting, okay? Because the GOP is the right, the far right's reporting on this, but the left's not reporting on this. But this is something that you need to know, okay? Now, they have identified or basically taken Dr. Anthony Fauci's devices. And in those devices that they have, Dr. Fauci, they have looked at over 35,000 text messages. And in those text messages, okay, allegedly, Dr. Fauci is talking to some high individuals with the Centers for Disease and Control, and they theoretically, based on the data identified in the midst of, have identified, okay, the cause of miscarriages in the first trimester associated with the COVID-19 vaccination, and they pretty much swept it under the rug. So if you are female or family, and you got the COVID shot and, you've been miscarriaging, okay, now this is going to be something because Dr. Fauci needs to come back and testify, and there needs to be charges brought upon this cat because Dr. Fauci just went, just used us as pawns, just to, push a narrative and an agenda associated with Bill Gates. Because I looked at yesterday the TED Talk when Bill Gates decided to have a TED Talk and said that the earth will be populated and is overpopulated. But who gives you the power and the authority to control Bill Gates? The power and authority to control the population. Let it be what it is. If we overpopulate, let it happen, because God's in the midst and God is undefeated and God got it, okay? But you as a human being associated with Dr. Fauci and your human population control. So now theoretically, the COVID-19 vaccination, especially the second dosage, okay? Some of y'all double up, some of you tripled up, some of you quadrupled up. And now you're trying to have a baby, but you can't get past the first trimester because you are miscarriaging. And theoretically, the COVID shot is associated with it. It's a trending topic. Do your own research, do your due diligence. Don't just listen to me because, like I said, I did the research. I was on this all day yesterday. And the COVID-19 vaccination is associated with miscarriages in the first trimester. So if you've been experiencing miscarriages, just ask yourself, did you take the shot or not? You know that you did or not, but there may be some legal issues down the road, some cash payouts. We don't know. We'll figure this out. But like I aforementioned, Trump loving black people, because yesterday Trump signed an executive order. Yes, President Trump signed an executive order to reduce the shots on children. Okay, now there are 17 shots, by the age of 5, okay, that our youth and our babies and our youth get. But somehow, some way, autism has risen because of the additional shots. And I got to give you some numbers here because back in the 70s, okay, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccination became part of a routine childhood immunization. And I remember taking those shots. I remember catching the measles, had the chicken pox, stayed home from school a few days. I had the scabs, but we got through it. And then in the 80s, formally established a infantile autism as a diagnostic category, expanding consistency and diagnosis. So once we started getting these shots in the 70s, and then in the 80s, they started seeing autism. Now in 86, the CDC's infant schedule called for 5 vaccine dosages by the age of 1, 2 oral polio doses, and 3 DTP dosages. Okay. Now, in the 1990s, autism identification began rising in the 90s. Because prior to that, we knew little to no information, or there was no autistic people. We just had retarded or non-retarded. And what I'm learning about that spectrum, we'll get into that on another video. But, okay, in the 90s, additional vaccines were incorporated into the childhood schedule. Okay, now watch this. 2000s. 1 in every 115 children identified with autism. Okay, prior to that, in the 70s, the study showed that the autism report were basically generally 1 case per 10,000. So from the 70s to the 2000s, with the addition to these vaccinations, autism went from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 150. Okay, modern vaccine schedule was subsequently larger than previous decades. Now, in 2000, 1 in 150 kids. Now, with those additional shots, okay, more vaccines were routinely recommended And in 2010, 1 in 68. Think about that. Now this 1 in 68 went from 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 150,000 to 1 in 150 to 1 in 68. Now in 2016, 1 in 54. Childhood schedule, include multiple vaccine series of shots. Okay, now you see the trend. That's a trend. Okay, the more shots that you give these children at an early age, the more causes and more cases of autism, because in 2020, broad childhood schedule included numerous vaccines. So now you have a infant baby, you just had a baby 6 months old. You go to the doctor and they basically say, well, you're Medi-Cal and Medicaid, you basically qualify. You want to just get all the shots, get it over with. Okay, we'll do that. They give your baby all those shots, and next thing you know, 1 in 36. So in 2020, 1 in 36 born babies in the United States, based on the broad scheduling of numerous vaccines, 1 in 36. Now, in 2022, the CDC scheduled included vaccines against numerous diseases. Now, 1 in 31 was the latest estimate. 1 in 31 was the latest estimate. And when I say Trump loves black people, it's because the autism affects the black community or the African American more so than any other culture. We are the least population when it comes to population. Okay, you got whites number 1, Latinos number 2, we're number 3, and then the Asians are number 4. But based on the numbers, the autism in terms of 1 out of 31 in the black community is actually 1 out of 6. So basically, Trump signed an executive order today, and it's clickbait just to say he loves blacks, is because he has signed an executive action to basically, and gave suggestions to basically take the shots at a different time. Do not pump these babies up with all these vaccines. Open up the time frame and give them 2 or 3 shots at a time, because Trump said that's what he did to his kids. And that's what a lot of individuals have done. And these individuals are, making, their personal decisions, because the government should not dictate, what we do. I understand, and we understand that the government puts out these types of information, they're looking at it from a big picture perspective. But when you have data such as and it's basically showing a pattern, the more vaccines that you give the children, the higher the autism rate, then we need to reduce the shots and reduce the time frame that we give these children. And this is why I say that Donald Trump loves black Americans. And I say he loves black Americans because the president of the United States understands that the success of this country rides on the backs of black Americans. Okay, it did in the Civil War, and right now with this mass exodus of the Democratic Party and a lot of us lining up as nonpartisan independents, meaning we will work with the federal government to draw up legislation and to put bills into play that will basically look out for the black community. That's what we do, and we're going to continue to do so. Okay, because like I said, when people say Trump's racist, and I beg to differ, he's the president of the United States, because Scott Turner is the director of HUD, the secretary of HUD, and the CDC nominee, and I believe she has gotten confirmed, and we'll talk about that down the road, is a black woman. Now, when a lot of individuals would say, he doesn't have any blacks on his cabinet. And if I was him, I wouldn't have put none either. Because if Trump would have put any blacks in his cabinet, those would have been the Judases. Because once he figured out what their game plan was, once he figured out who sent them, once he figured out, that they're not working out and he fired them, then we'll be saying, oh, he's racist, he fired. No, he's looking for the right individual, and he got the right individual in Scott Turner. And if this female gets confirmed, I'll give you her name. We'll talk about it down the road. She basically will be replacing Dr. Fauci, because Dr. Fauci is in hot water. And like I said, they're associating the COVID shot with miscarriages. They're associating the COVID shot with mass casualties and deaths. But, these things are sensitive on the internet. So we got to tread lightly when it comes to that. So hit that like, hit that notification to be in the know. This is a Better Black America TV, a Better Black America talk radio show hosted by your man, Bushan Glover. And we're talking entertainment, sports, politics, and money. Now, in money news, okay, we did the entertainment, we did the sports, and now in money news, okay, we got to really understand what's going on. I'm going to give you some money news, and then I'm going to bounce back to a sports story, okay, because they all on this lady's head when it comes to Martha Reeves singing the national anthem. So let me just give you some talking points with our money, because the number one trending as of Tuesday, August 11th, okay, is that oil is back near $90. Now, it could actually hit your wallet. Now, Brent crude pushed towards $90 a barrel, while WTI was around $83 as the markets watched developments surrounding the Strait of Hormuz. Higher oil prices are rising concerns about another inflation wave. Now, why does this matter? Higher oil, higher gas, transportation, business costs, potentially higher inflation, potentially a tougher decision for the Fed. Now, Wall Street is waiting on tomorrow's inflation's number. Now, the U.S. stocks are hovering near record levels, and that's record high levels, okay? If we want to, we got to get into the money game, y'all, so bear with me, but investors are cautious ahead of July's CPI inflation report on Wednesday. So the July report comes out tomorrow, and economists expect inflation to remain elevated, although slightly lower than June. Bitcoin falls below $64. AI infrastructure is the next big investments. We're going to be talking about that down the road. And then gold versus Bitcoin. Gold is a safe haven, okay, because gold has been outperforming Bitcoin recently as investors respond to geopolitical uncertainties, interest rates, expectations, and the demand for traditional safe haven assets. And that's the key word, safe haven assets, because we're going to need that for our retirement down the road. Now, if you were under a rock, okay, you have a recording artist, Martha Reeves. She performed the national anthem, and she's getting up there in age, okay? She's in her 80s, somewhere around 82, 83, 84 years old, around that time, but she did the national anthem at a women's professional baseball league. I didn't even know that there was a women's professional baseball league, and it is, and they just have 4 teams right now, so they're going to be looking to expand. But Martha Reeves got the honor to basically do the national anthem. Now, she went viral all over TMZ, all over social media. I even seen her do an interview where she basically, re-sang or re-sung the national anthem in studio. And it pretty much sounded exactly like she sounded when she was at the women's baseball game. Now, I'm going to let you hear it, and then I will give you a contrast, or I will give you an alternative, because I've been hearing individuals say, that was the worst national anthem that I've ever heard. And I'm going to tell you, it was not the worst national anthem sung on national television, because I'm going to set the premise up, because this is Martha Reeves singing the national anthem at a women's professional baseball game. And this is the inaugural season, this first year, 4 teams. Okay. And the only reason she went viral is because of performance. And she blamed the backup singers because she said that there were those 2 other females. They didn't work for her. They was not in a band or a group. They just wanted to get paid. And she said that it was their fault. But I saw some videos during, rehearsal where, it sounded no difference. But I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to, show a part where they let her do the hard part by herself. It was them 2 against her. So with no further ado, let's check it out.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we have?
You see her step back, Y'all heard it. Okay, I'm gonna do some commentary on it. But you see her step back like, okay, what are y'all doing? Y'all messing me up. Watch her step back. Look at her. She picked the mic down. She's like, this is what y'all doing. Look.
What's so proudly we
Hey, watch. Watch this.
Gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so
Watch this. Watch this. They're gonna say, go. Look, watch this. That's your part. This is how you do it. Like this.
Still there.
Slow down.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the whole.
That's how you do it. Go, Martha. 80 plus years old. Go, girl. But that was not the worst. Okay. Now, hands down, and I'm going to close with this. Entertainment, sports, politics, and money. And I'm going to close with this. This was the actual worst national anthem. Check this out. Matter of fact, let me set the premise. This is the Lakers at the Fabulous Forum. The Lakers versus the Chicago Bulls on a Sunday, y'all. And Carl Lewis. I don't think they rehearsed. They asked Carl Lewis, can you sing? Yeah, I could do it. Okay, just show up. You know, we got you. But I don't think he rehearsed. But check this out.
Are we ready? It's always good to be back in Jersey. How about some Nets?
Watch that.
Wait a minute, I'm hearing the blues here. All right, are we all ready?
Watch this.
Here we go. Oh, say, can you see?
Okay.
By the dawn's early light.
Okay.
What's so proud?
Some may say, no, he got Martha, but wait for it.
At the twilight,
watch this.
Fast gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars.
He all right.
But
watch this. Here he comes.
For the rampart we watch, we're so glad.
Okay, gotta know the words, Carl. Watch this. Watch this.
And the rockets, uh-oh. The birds are singing.
All right, but
through the night.
So I'm gonna leave it right there. Martha, you safe? Because nobody could pass that one. So that, you know, is the worst national anthem ever. You know, that I'm going to let you hear that part again. Watch this. Here we go. I'm going to get up out of here.
Streaming, and the rockets,
Till next time, this is your man, Bouchon Glover. Better Black America TV, Better Black America Talk Radio Show. Hit that like, hit that notification to stay in the know. And see you next time. Peace out.